NFL quarterback analysis and quarterback rankings are an incredibly volatile thing to gauge in the modern NFL landscape because we have all these ride or die NFL fans wanting to take this one QB from their team or that one QB from this team that they think is really good, and whether they have reason to or not, backing them up to the most extent that they can. People like to take drastic scenes on who is QB1, or maybe QB1's already established, so who's QB2, who's QB3, who's QB4, all this stuff. And today we're going to look at how we really should be addressing this debate, this debacle of how we're going to get an actual legitimate answer through all this chaos. This video is going to be different than videos I normally make, and it came from an idea that I had that I just couldn't shake, that I feel like this could be a needed video that so many people could take and actually get a reasonable stance on, some of these things. So one thing we all need to do is do our own research. There's not enough time in the world to do all that for everybody, I understand, but stop following blind fan bases on Twitter saying that this guy is so great or that guy is so bad. How about you do your own research and look into it? Even just for a minute. You'll look at the numbers, look at the things they've accomplished, look at the different things, and we're going to get into all of those factors. But before we get into that, just let me remind you to check out Dubby.gg. Use code Shredder for 10% off your order. And also, please click that like and subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing and helps my channel out a ton. Let's get into this video. There's going to be 5 stages to this video, and each stage is going to get more important each time, to me at least, how I think they should be important. Number 1, we're going to start off with the stats. The stats are obviously a big part of the QB evaluation, but box score watching and statistics alone will never tell the full story. Some guy can look like he had the best stats in the world, but if you look at the context of the game, they're not that great. Things were made up so that he had to throw or he had to run too much or whatever, and that's going to skew stats. Look at the Chiefs versus Eagles Super Bowl and the amount of stats that each Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes had. If you look at straight up on these numbers and that's all you looked at for this game, you'd probably think Jalen Hurts' team won. The Eagles won this Super Bowl. But however, they did not. Did Jalen Hurts outperform Patrick Mahomes? You can argue that, absolutely. However, did it get them the win? No. So that means stats aren't always going to tell you everything. We're not going to spend a lot of time here because I feel like this is the simplest one to understand. But keep in mind, if you don't already, stats do not tell the whole story. Number 2 is the ability. And this is something that I've personally kind of made up and I feel very strongly about. This is the idea that you can point to someone who has all of the talent in the world, but if they have little to no ability, they're not going to be able to be a successful, good quarterback at the NFL level. Case in point, Justin Fields. Justin Fields, to say he doesn't have talent would be preposterous. He obviously does. However, we're in year 4 and still hoping that talent will pop out and succeed. In the case of Justin Fields, he has a ton of talent, but he has no ability to successfully compete at a quarterback in the NFL level. That is a thing he lost in that. He has a point where, there's unfixable footwork at this point because it's 4 years in and we're still dealing with this. He's shown a great incompetency to be a great decision maker or even a good decision maker. He doesn't make great decisions, and he looks to run before he gives himself the chance to hit his back foot and make the correct reads. And someone who may have talent, well, that's great, but they have to have the ability to be a great NFL quarterback as well. Every guy in the NFL is talented, obviously, and some are clearly less capable than others, but you have to have a mix of both. The ability to do that, the ability to keep it going, to make the great plays, but also the cerebral side of it in your head of just, what am I supposed to do here? Where's my read? How am I supposed to hit this? What's my drop? On my drop, should I be throwing before right when I hit that back foot? There's a lot of problems with Justin Fields, and he's just the guy I can use as an example here. I'm not just trying to bash Justin Fields. He just has happened to be the one guy who, well, this kind of applies to him in all forms and factors. Hey, while you're here, make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button. It helps me out a ton, but doesn't cost you a single thing. It's something that, really helps my channel, and it gets the algorithm going in my favor. So please help me out there, and we'll continue. The next thing on this list, number 3, is the eye test. The eye test is a bigger portion of this, in my opinion. If you don't know what the eye test is, basically you can just describe it as, watching a player and telling that they're special. If you watch an NFL game and say, yeah, that guy is making absolute baller plays, well, he's special. He's a bigger scale on the eye test. You can look at 2 guys who, maybe their stats are the same, but they have a big difference in what they do on the field. This, watching to see that they have the it factor is what it is. You can box score watch guys like Kirk Cousins or Jared Goff and think that they might be on par with elite quarterbacks. Well, they're not. Just because they have similar numbers, they're not just elite quarterbacks based on that and that alone. But take a drive of football, watch, break down the way they throw, the things they do. Okay, these guys are making, run-of-the-mill throws onto open receivers in time. That's great. Guys have to be able to do that. That's a great thing. Not everybody can be a superstar is another problem there. But even when their team scores, you want to see need to see something from them, and you'll see that they're not quite special. They're just not incredibly special like other guys are. Guys like Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Lamar, Burrow, these guys have the innate ability to be special, to have that it factor, and they all look different ways. Mahomes has the crazy, stupid throws that he shouldn't be able to make. Josh Allen has the running and the throwing that's more dynamic than anyone we've ever seen. Lamar has a really good running ability, and that's really about it for him. We'll talk about him more in a minute, but Burrow is a great pocket passer with, a Brady-like movement in the pocket. And then you have, Herbert, who is kind of a jack of all trades. He's not quite the runner that Josh Allen or Lamar is, but he's still a very capable runner. He's not quite he's got probably the same arm that Allen and Mahomes do. He's just kind of in the middle there, able to do all things. These guys have the it factor. The eye test is proven on these guys, and it makes a big difference. Guys like Kirk Cousins or Jared Goff compared to any of these, they're not the same. You would take these guys over them every single time. So we're walking up this in steps here, and that leads us to number 4, the accolades. Accolades are, if you don't know, awards, achievements, things you achieve. So, accolades are a thing, but not everything, and honestly not that important. I think, yes, they're toward the end of this video, but is it really that impactful? I don't think so. I think it's something, you can add a half a point here, but that's about it. You have to see the context of those accolades, and Lamar Jackson is the victim of this topic. Before we get into this, let me preface this with, yes, Lamar is an incredible football player. There's no doubting that. But quarterback, is he an incredible quarterback? Not so much. Last night we got to watch the first game of the season, Chiefs at Ravens, and you saw Lamar not be a great quarterback over and over and over again. However, he had 100-plus rushing yards. It led to some great plays. That's awesome. That's a good football player, not a good quarterback. There's a big difference there. While yes, Lamar Jackson has 2 MVPs, you also have to consider how he got them. In 2019, he had a really good season, but he was still 22nd in passing yards. He had average pass stats overall. He made 1,200 rushing yards that year. Yes, that is insane. Don't get me wrong. But total yardage of that season doesn't even put him in the top 5 of everyone else's passing stats alone. Just on that alone. That's crazy. In all seriousness, Lamar won both awards by happening to be the quarterback of the 1 seed. That's how he won the awards. There's a strong argument, especially for in the 2023 season, that he wasn't even the most valuable player on his team. Roquan, Hamilton, maybe Matty Buike. These guys all have strong cases to be more valuable than Lamar for those seasons because of what they were able to accomplish in those. Honestly, accolades are not entirely irrelevant, but the situation surrounding Lamar Jackson makes them far less important. They're pretty much just given to the quarterback on the 1 seed and the MVP. If that's going to be how they decide things, the quarterback of the best team gets the MVP, then what are we talking about? This award doesn't matter anymore because it could go to anybody. It could go to let's say Davis Mills leads the Texans to a 1 seed after C.J. Stroud gets hurt. Okay, is he just going to win it now? That's the thing they're setting up. That's the precedent they're setting right now. So, yes, the accolades matter. An MVP, that was a sarcastic statement about Davis Mills, obviously. But the MVP, it's an important thing, but it doesn't mean as much as it really should anymore. Next, we have the final and most important topic, in my opinion, and that is the playoffs / winning plays. How much does this matter? There is a ton of nuance here. There is a ton of different questions, and obviously winning is a big deal, but football is the ultimate team sport. In the NBA, we've seen LeBron James carry teams to the finals in 2016, borderline single-handedly, and that's impossible in the game of football. A guy can't do that. The case we're going to look at here is the case of Josh Allen and primarily his runs in the playoffs in the last 3 to so years. Josh Allen, widely regarded as an upper-level quarterback, whether he's 2, whether he's 5. He's in that vein. He's in that range. Going back to the 2021 divisional round, we see the Chiefs-Bills game. This Bills score with 13 seconds left, and then this should be a death sentence to almost every single NFL team, every single time. But the defensive coordinator for the Bills decides to leave Travis Kelce wide open for every bit of yardage that they need. That makes no sense. The one guy you're truly worried about in Travis Kelce, and he's just wide open, what are we doing? They go to overtime. The Chiefs win on the opening drive. Josh Allen never got the chance to touch the ball. I think the argument is not only reasonable, but highly credible to whoever thinks that whoever got that ball first was winning the game. That is an absolute fact. Whoever got that ball first in overtime was winning that game. 14 of the 20 drives in the regular game period ended in scoring plays. And the last 5 drives before the overtime period were all scoring plays. Whoever touched the ball was winning that game. End of story. There wasn't defense to be played. It wasn't happening. Allen and Mahomes, watching that game, they were both on the top of their game. They were executing everything properly. Yeah, a fluke could have happened. But at the same time, let's be real here. These guys were taking over. These were the best players in the NFL. They were taking over. They were winning this game. Yes, defense is a part of the game, and they have to execute. That doesn't need to be thrown to the side. However, but all that to say, Josh Allen's not the one who we should be tanking for that game. He did everything he could and then some. He took that game and almost won it. He was far and away from the reason they lost. Look at Josh Allen's clutch stats. Look at these on the screen that I have for you here. All of this complies. And you see Josh Allen is one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in crunch time. He makes all the plays. He makes every play you need or want him to. Josh Allen, in this case, is the best example for playoffs or winning plays. Does he win those games? Maybe not all the time. Maybe not at all. But he's not the reason they're losing them either. With that being said, here are my quarterback rankings. And 1 to 32 effectively based on the team starter. I feel like I have to keep Rodgers in because he was only hurt for 1 season. You can't blame him for being hurt 1 year on a fluke play. It's not like he's been hurt for 3 years with the same knee injury 3 times in a row. That would cause problems, But Aaron Rodgers, he's done nothing wrong to this point to drop him. We can't hurt him for 1 year of injury. So either way, looking at this, you have to do your own research. And I encourage you to go do research on quarterbacks to make the argument that you want specific, to make the guy, make sense, make the case make sense before you spout out premeditated content from some ESPN personality or biased fans on Twitter. Let me know how you think this stands, and let me know if you think this style of video is interesting, if you enjoyed this. I'll also be doing a hot takes video here soon, so send in a hot take on the pinned tweet on my Twitter page at SHRD3RShredder, and I'll see y'all in the next one.